You don't need to feel qualified to do the thing that you were called to do. You just need to answer the call. And God will show you all the ways that He has already pre-qualified you for this. I say this not because it's rhetoric, but I say this because I friggin' live it, y'all. Something that has been more and more apparent in my life as I reflect on the things that I'm doing now in comparison to how unqualified I feel to do them. I can't help but share with you guys that you are going to find yourself with hopes and desires that feel way beyond you, and they scare the crap out of you because you feel like, who the hell am I to even think I should try to do this? Move forward with it. Especially to my Christians out there, if you feel that God is calling you forth to do something, don't say no. Don't ask Him to keep showing you or preparing you with this skill and that skill. Say, yes, Father. Start moving towards the thing He's called you for, and let Him do the rest of the work to show you what He already put down on the inside of you. Today, in my coaching practice, I am becoming more vocal about the role that my faith plays. And on the one hand, I feel like I don't need to talk about that when I'm talking about leadership development. Like, that doesn't matter. But the truth is that it matters to me because I wouldn't be where I am without it. The other thing, I am being called to start putting a greater emphasis on leadership development and advancement for human service organizations and educational institutions. And the doubtful part of me feels like I'm good in my space, and here I am thinking that I could really build my business on this. Like, what the heck? I'm called to do it. And so as I'm starting to think back, I'm realizing God has been setting a foundation in my life that has prepared me for these moments. Things that have felt like just tasks I was doing to survive was really creating a blueprint for me to thrive. I'm thinking back to how at a very early age, I started to pay attention to the people around me. And when I wanted a particular outcome, it was like, okay, I know this person. I know what they like. I know what they don't like. I've studied their temperament. I've studied their mannerisms and so forth. And so I am going to present my case to them, my appeal for the thing that I want to them in such a way that shows them that I am cognizant of who they are and their needs as well. So that way, when they are considering whether to grant me this thing or not, they know that I did it not just from a place of me, but from a place of consideration of who they are, what the situation is, where we are, a host of different factors. I started taking that approach at 8 years old. Now, I didn't see it that way because for me, as a child growing up in severe neglect, it was survival. And so I just thought it was the thing to do. And thank God for therapy because I'm getting to work through that. But I cannot sit here and pretend that that didn't create a template through which I am now able to thrive. My whole business slogan is transform the way you see yourself to expand your possibilities. And so instead of me continuing to stay in a space of oh my gosh, that's so sad, and I'll never do that to a person again, I am starting to pay more attention and lean into the resilience of it all and the way that I was able to make it work for me while simultaneously working through acceptance and all the different things that my therapist and I are working on with me. The other qualifying aspect of what I'm doing now is, so I learned to make assessments of the environment. I learned to consider multiple factors before I made a request. I learned to present my request in such a way that demonstrated a consideration of all of those factors. And those were things that I started to do when I was in school. Those were things that took me far in college when I was writing papers. And so in doing that, you learn how to build up your writing skills, to present arguments and to present cases. You learn how to research. In college, you learn how to research. And so I took that baseline knowledge of assessing multiple factors and added expanded levels of research to it. When that brought me to the professional space, right, where I'm working now, and in positions of leadership, I start to realize that that same approach is going to carry me far if I can showcase an awareness of the organizational needs, the needs of my staff, the needs of my superiors, as well as the needs of the population that we're servicing. And if I can show how the work that I'm doing and the things that I'm presenting is considering of all of those factors in one shot, then I look like an amazing leader, an amazing organizer, and someone that you want to have in high spaces. And so I continued to use the knowledge that I had to get me promoted time and time again. Now I'm at a space where I have my own business. And again, I know how to do this so well because I've had so many years of practice. I am 42, okay? I told y'all about something that I learned when I was 8. I've had so many years of practice and so many iterations of building out this strategy that I know it works for me. But not only do I know it works for me, it became the thing that I would start to pass along to my team members as I became supervisor of staff and charged with guiding and developing leaders. And I continued on, right? So then I wanted to see if not only will it work for me teaching this to staff, but could it be something that is continuously transferred to the next set of leaders? And would it have as grand of an impact? And so when I was in a position of cultivating leaders who are cultivating leaders, right? One of my positions when I worked for someone was I was in charge of building up leadership coaches. And so I took my same method, my same approach, and taught it to them. But I taught it to them in multiple ways, right? And I showed them how to be responsive in the same ways, right? I didn't really call it teaching. It was more showing them how to be responsive, showing them how to consider multiple factors and still show up as what they identify as their best self. I can't tell you what your best self is, but I became very skilled at helping people to pinpoint what that is for them and being able to consider all these multiple factors, respond to the multiple factors, and still show up with a high level of integrity and feeling like you the bomb, because you are. And now I'm here today, being able to answer the call of God to provide my services to human service professionals. And even that is and even that I was qualified for because my passion, due to my upbringing, was ensuring that as many people as I came in contact with would come to a place of self-acceptance and self-love and self-advancement in spite of rough upbringings, right? Not in spite of any situation. Of course, that's ideal. But my true passion was seeing those who have come up in rough upbringings, high ACEs scores, childhood neglect and abuse, and a whole bunch of emotional challenges. Seeing those individuals rise and thrive. And so that brought me to child welfare. And then child welfare expanded my idea to the social service field. And then social service expanded to human services. And now I am able to bring my leadership development and advancement courses to organizations who may not have the infrastructure to provide direct leadership development to their staff in-house. Well, with all of my years of experience, with all of my years of practice, and I'm talking about decades, with all of that combined, I now get to do that and see others thrive. And I get to know that my impact is not just on those who I am directly working with, but that my impact is going to live well on past me and beyond me, beyond any scope or range that I would reach, because I am cultivating a group of leaders who are going to keep this going and spread it far and wide. And so I share this with you all to say that God will qualify those that He's called, and not just that He will, but that He already has. And I hope that my story is confirmation for you in your journey to let you know that He will, and that there is nothing that He will not use for His glory, and there is nothing that He cannot turn for good. The things that would have me in tears and have me feeling so down and miserable about myself are some of the very same things that have me talking to you in this video now, that have me connecting with staff, that have me looking back on leaders that I've cultivated with pride as they come and share with me how they've advanced others and how they've advanced their careers.